Okay, welcome everybody. Melanie Nelson here, Director of Sales for TLS. I have a very special guest with me today for our Coaching the Coach interview. And she is a national supervising coordinator with the company, which means a minimum of $10,000 in a 4-week pay cycle. She's a registered dietitian. She is a licensed diabetes educator, and she is passionate about our TLS division. Not only is she a TLS certified coach, but she's also a TLS certified trainer. And recently, very recently, became our new director of training. She's been an absolute blessing and just awesome to work with, and so glad she's part of the team. And we wanted to bring her on, so you can learn a little bit from her, and also she's just a force to be reckoned with. So welcome, Sosan.
Oh, thank you, Melanie. What an introduction. I feel a bit humble, but oh my goodness, thank you.
Yeah, I love a good introduction. So, hey, first of all, congratulations on all of your success
Thank you,
in
thank
your
you.
life. Obviously, it takes a lot of commitment and dedication and hard work to create success in general. And you've done it. You have a radio show you've had for years that you have a
Yeah.
great following on there. And so in so many areas, you've created success. And I think that, one of the things that I've made a real purposeful effort in is learning from highly successful people. So I'm so glad that we're doing this interview so people can learn from you.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
right on. Okay, so first question
Hmm.
is, how did Market America and TLS find you in your life?
Well, it's kind of funny because I was actually introduced to the business 4 years before I started the business. And at that time, I graduated not too long ago. And originally, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. Originally, prior to that, I actually wanted to become an interior designer. Very passionate about arts and and I thought I'm very creative. But then, unfortunately, my grandmother, who raised me up, where I'm very close to, actually died from diabetes complication, and that changed my world completely. And I realized that no amount of medication was able to help her. She has, I mean, they definitely stent her life, but she didn't have quality. She was pretty much bedridden, like kind of well paralyzed from neck down, and it was really devastating for me. And I realized I wanted to make changes. I don't want to see another family member going through that, so I decided to switch and got into nutrition. And at that time, I was so passionate about nutrition. So when I graduated, imagine this new grad that's passionate about changing the world, especially in diabetes. And I have this individual who was introducing me and asked me to do a lot of presentation, and which I love to do, then introduced me to the product OPC3. And at that time, I was like, you know what? I'm really busy building my practice. I'm happy. Everything's good. I'm not interested in looking at anything. So that bottle was given to me, and I was like, thank you. Just me being nice and thank you. And I bring it home. I left it there. Aspire. I threw them away. I never even opened the bottle. I'm one of those typical individuals, like, thank you, bring it back, but I throw it away. So what happened was during those 4 years, I actually built a very successful practice in downtown Toronto. So my clients are mostly executives, like VIP, lawyers, accountants. They made a lot of money, but they didn't have health. So I love working with this individual, and I do make a very good income in a very short amount of time. 4 or 5 times what a typical dietitian would make in a hospital. So I was very happy, content. Unfortunately, I had 2 car accidents back to back. And that 2 car accident really changed my mindset, because I realized I made a lot of money because of me. Because I was safe, I was healthy, but when I was bedridden at that time, and I had to rely on my brother, my dad to drive me for my chiro session, my physio session, I realized I need a plan B. I did not know what my plan B is, but I knew that I love my plan A, that I do not want to give up my plan A. So I asked God, I said, if there's a plan B that complements my plan A, I would take it. And at that time, I was talking to a very successful entrepreneur friend. I was like, you know what do you think of me doing an MBA? And she was like, why would you want to do an MBA? I said, because I want my 6-figure income. I still love nutrition. And she said, why don't I introduce you to a plan B? Is like a MBA where you kind of learn as you earn. And if you earn, consider that a bonus. And you did not earn, consider that tuition. I was like, oh, that's a pretty fair game plan. So I took on it, and that was marketamericashop.com plan.
Wow, that's incredible. I think, wow, to be bedridden, especially, I mean, you must have been young, That
Yeah.
definitely was probably just like a ton of bricks, hey? Like just,
Yeah. Yeah.
woo,
It
yeah,
was a serious time. At that time I just bought myself a condo and a new car, and I remember lying in bed actually literally crying because I don't know how to pay my mortgage. I did not know what my next few months will be like, and that was very devastating. And also it's because I always believe that that things kind of happen for a reason, and I felt it was a calling. And thank God, I always feel like it's a calling, but it's also being open-minded. And at that time, thank God I asked the right person. Imagine I asked a friend who didn't have that entrepreneur mindset, I wouldn't have been introduced to the business. And when I saw the business and I saw the OPC3 that was helping my mom at that time with her arthritis, it was a game changer. I was ready to build the business. And when you were asking why did I chose TLS, well, as a dietitian and specialized in diabetes, glycemic is pretty much my last name. Because when I was in university, I'm not sure you know about it, but in university, my professor, Professor David Jenkins, is actually the person who created glycemic index.
yeah,
So
that,
I know glycemic index like inside out because that is the professor that taught me that I worked with as my part-time work for him when I was in my university. So I know it so well. So when I saw the TLS program, being the glycemic index is what I taught as a certified diabetes educator, it was no brainer. It was a perfect match in heaven, basically.
yeah, talk about divine coincidences, right?
Yeah.
And finding that alignment. You asked for it and you received. So that's really incredible. So glad you're here. So obviously that kind of covers why you love the TLS program and division. It's in alignment with, your education, the things you learned in university and college about low glycemic index eating and the importance of that and the health of that. Is there any other part of the TLS division and program that you just like absolutely love?
I love the fact that because a lot of the program out there, as you know, there's a lot of fat diets. Every year there's always new fat diets coming up. And a lot of fat diets always tell you what to eat. Don't eat this, don't eat that. I think people are so used to don't eat, don't eat. And the word don't is such a negative word, right? It's human nature. If I tell you that from now on, Melanie, you're not going to have ice cream for the rest of your life, guess what, Sunny? You want ice cream. You might not even love ice cream, but suddenly, oh my God, I will have this for my rest of my life. I better eat my ice cream worth before I start my diet. So what I really love about TLS is that it's so customizable because there's no one size fits all. We're so different, okay? Secondly, is that our budget, our commitment level is different. If I want to lose 10 pounds versus a person need to lose 60 pounds, it's a different commitment level. If I wanted to look great for a wedding versus someone said, I would like to look great in 10 years, is a very different commitment level. So I like the fact that it's very customizable, it's comprehensive, it's not just focused on like what was the how to eat, but it focused on what we call body composition. And that's very key because it's easy to say, you know what, move more, eat less. We know that, right? But the reality is the third part, which is I come to love and really are so grateful to have, is the supplementation. And as a dietitian, that took a long time for me because, in our traditional, I guess, education is all about healthy eating. As long as variety, balance, and everything's well and you're moving, you're good. But if it's that easy, then why would obesity still all-time high? Obviously, it's not addressing the problem, which is a lot of metabolic issues, a lot of hormonal problems that we're experiencing. And I felt that the third component, which is supplementation, is exactly answers this question why move more and eat less is not the only answer. It is part of the answer, but not the only answer. And last but not least is the education. I really truly believe that when you tell people what to eat, they might able to do it for a week, a month, but they cannot do it forever. But when you educate them why they need to do that and they understand, then the choice is much more what we call informed decision. And that informed decision, and they can see the impact of that, carry them forward. And that's why I like it, is the lifestyle change. It's not a like, okay, done and be with. It's a journey. It's a long-term journey. And there's ups and downs, and that's perfectly okay. And that's what I love about TLS. It really, it's not one size fits all, but it fits for everybody based on your budget, your commitment, and your readiness to make changes.
Absolutely. Education equals permanent change. I love
Yes, for sure.
that. Okay, so what are some results you had? Obviously, chances are before you were even introduced to TLS, you've been living the TLS lifestyle because of your background and all of the rest of it. But obviously to build a business, to national supervising coordinator, to work with other people and help other people create success. Tell us a little bit about some of your own personal results in regards to the benefits of the business and, from that standpoint.
Well, the funny thing is, it's true. I've been following the TLS lifestyle, so when I saw it, it was something that I'm doing anyways. But when I truly really followed to a T with the fat shredder was when I had my first kids. Anybody who had the first kids who experienced that 30-pound extra weight gain that came but never really completely left you, they just kind of left you a little bit, but there's still extra 10 pound lingering around, waiting to leave, but not quite ready to leave. So I said, okay, I'm ready to do the fat shredder. And I remember it was so funny because I decided to motivate my team. I said, let's do a program together. I'm going to do this with you together instead of me coaching you. I'm actually on this whole journey together. And they were all excited. It was like, oh my God, Sosan's doing this with us because I want to lose that 10 pounds. And I think even before the 30-day was gone, they start to see me and say, oh my God, Sosan, you're back. I said, I know, I'm back. It felt amazing. And I think the most amazing part is that's why I said every program fits for different people at different needs. And having the baby and by the time I was 6 to 8 months, when I was done breastfeeding, I was ready. And the fat shredder was a perfect program for me. I have always followed more of a rapid result assurance, like between a rapid result assurance study. I haven't never gone to a fat shredder because I didn't feel I need to, but that was a perfect fat shredder program for me. And from my own, I saw the benefit, and that obviously built my confidence because I'm back again in that sense, right? From what really the business has done for me is that it allowed me to see that, to really think outside the box. As a dietitian practicing in a very traditional mindset, I did my internship in a hospital. I get all my understanding has always been this disease, this condition, this medication, what are the drug nutrient interaction, and how do I deal with that? So I've always been that kind of mindset. But I think with the TLS as well, with the business, it really allowed me to see that the box is not right here. The box is endless. And I love the fact that you can really do what we call, I love the concept of university major, because in the university we can do double major, one minor, or double minor, right? So when I started, I did a double major, which is TLS and health and nutrition, naturally, because that's where my passion is. But with my partners, I said, okay, now we're attending university. What's your major and minor? And majority would say either motive or health and nutrition, or motive and TLS. And because we had that conversation, it really helped me to find like leaders in motive to work on motive, because it's the beauty of leverage. Because in a traditional practice, no matter how good I am, I'm only a one-person team. But in this business, the leverage is like, oh my God, oh my goodness. I wish I can take this leverage business concept back into my practice. Then I can work a lot smarter, because I always tell people you can work harder. But having a proven business, you're working smarter, because we only have 24 hours in a day. Don't you want to duplicate yourself? And I said, there's a way to do it. And I love it because I don't need to be specialized in motive. I have a big motive team. I don't know anything about motive except using it. Okay, I don't know much about it. And I can actually leverage the platform to build a motive team. At the same time, I can get to do what I love to do, which is health, nutrition, and TLS. And that's what I love about it. So from my end, it's really leveraging my time. And on the last part was I get to be a mom, because I used to work 6 to 7 days a week. I was a workaholic, and I never imagined mom, and building this business allowed me that time freedom, because I had that 6-figure income coming in, and I felt comfortable. And that really gave me that chance to be a mom, which I never thought I would become a mom. So my friends were surprised. I said, well, when you have a second income, you might change your mind.
And that's awesome. Yes, kids cost money. So, they're expensive. No, I'm just kidding. So number 3 here, and I think this is a really important one for all the coaches who are going to be listening to this. Obviously, as a registered dietitian, you are marketing yourself as a professional already within the industry. So, clients were coming to you and you were probably utilizing that avenue to create TLS customers. But what would you consider your best marketing strategies to attract your customer base, or ones that you taught your team to do to attract their customer base?
You know, as much as I love talking, a lot of my clients and my friends know about, and as well as my team know that I love talking, but I always have to say that what makes me different is not just because I'm that dietitian. There's so many dietitians out there. There's so many certified diabetes educator out there. I think what really makes me different is I listen. I listen a lot. I do provide advice when it's called for, but I listen. So I always tell my partners, and I said that if you truly want to help somebody, is they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And how I really built with my clients is showing how much I care. And I came from here, and when they feel it here, they will share more. And when they share more, then you become that what we call the solution provider. You cannot provide a solution unless you know what the problem is. And you will not know what the problem is unless you ask the question. And unless you listen and ask the right question, it will not get you to the problem for you to provide a solution. So I think it takes a lot of patience, but it takes a lot of asking the right question. And in the past, I remember a long time ago, when I started building my practice, I realized what makes me different is that a lot of my clients I end up being friends with. I almost forgot that they were my clients to begin with. And I think it's because we built such a great relationship. And that helps not just building, working with them at that time, that it builds a great referral. Because when they talk about you, they didn't simply talk about and say, oh, she's amazing. She said she really cares. She really prioritizes you. I think that's the most important, because a lot of people are knowledgeable, but do you truly care? People go with people who truly care. And I got so many referrals just from every client I work with. And this is something I always tell my clients. It's not how much you help that one client, it's how much you care that one client, that clients help vouch for you and promote you. That takes you to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really an easy mistake to make, if I can say that, for maybe new unfranchised owners or new TLS coaches to be super excited about their solution. Maybe you just like raring to go, and
Yep.
somebody even just mentions a problem, and all of a sudden you're like, I have this and this
Yep.
and this and
Yep.
this for you. Right?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
like, I've
Totally.
got the thing for you, right? And so,
Exactly. And
yeah.
don't jump to it. I always say, listen. And sometimes, you know, that it's human nature. You ask anybody, do you want to lose weight? No one say no. Do you want to make more money? No one say no. But you need to ask them the next question. How come you're not doing it yet?
Yeah.
Because then that's when you realize you understand their barrier, their block.
Mm-hmm.
Your job was to break down those barrier, and they said, okay, do you have a solution? What if their block was, I don't know, like whether it's money or whether it's time or whether it's a negative spouse? Once you know that block, when you're providing a solution, you're also providing a solution to break down those block and barrier. So it's a win-win situation. I think you're right. I think we're so quick to provide an answer before we listen. Are they ready for that answer? And
Yeah.
I think that's so crucial,
We call
basically.
those, we call those probing questions, right? So, and I think this is something to spend a little bit of time on, because it's easy to say, listen, it's easy to say, ask more questions. But when someone's brand new and they're excited and they're not accustomed to this type of thing, because as a health professional, you're also trained to ask a lot of questions, right?
Yes,
You
we
were
do.
literally trained to do that. And so
Yes.
let's maybe spend a little time and train the people listening. What are some of the probing questions you would ask? So one of the things you said was, if they say, hey, I have this, issue, or do you want to lose weight? Do you want to make more money? Hey, what do you feel has prevented you from doing that so far? What do
Yeah.
you feel like your biggest struggle is in
Yes.
getting there? Right.
Yes.
Or when they have maybe an obstacle in their health, and you say, what have you tried? This is my favorite. What have you tried so far?
So far. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my favorite
because I'm
question
not going to
too.
give you my solution until I know what you've
Exactly.
tried. Um, and
Exactly. I always ask that.
yeah, what have you tried so far? The other one, my favorite, is like, oh, first I always say, like, I am so sorry to hear that. That must be, terrible or awful, or I try to empathize.
Yeah.
And then ask, well, what have you tried so far? Another one, I'm sure you ask, like, what is, what's your ultimate goal, or what would you like to see? And then your follow-up question comes in right there, which is, why
Yeah.
do you feel like you haven't
Yeah.
gotten there so far? So it's kind of like
Exactly.
1, 2, 3 punch.
Yeah.
And then what would be, and then once they give you that struggle or obstacle, you can even dig further into that, right?
Yeah. A lot of time I tell my partner, as well as dietitian who interns with me, and they often ask, how come you know when to ask those questions? I said, you will know if you spend the time listening what they say to know what the next question will be. If if you're so busy thinking a list of questions to ask and you're not even listening, even their answer does not link to the next question. You were like, what are you asking me? You haven't listened to me. But when you listen to them, you realize, okay, so like you said, okay, what's your problem and everything? And they said, why haven't you able to work on that? If there's a negative spouse, you're not going to jump to the next question. You talk about your negative spouse a little bit more. Why do you think it's a negative spouse? Well, he always bring home the goodies. He bring off the cakes, bring home the ice cream, whatever. Or he just doesn't believe in diet because he think we live to eat. That, that kind of thing. So once you understand that, so you continue asking those questions instead of so busy. I think sometimes we're so busy as I interview. I better ask all these questions. I'm not listening to what my interviewee is telling me. I just go to these questions. And at the end, yeah, you ask all the questions, but that you get the answer that you're looking for to help you the next step.
Yeah.
And a lot of time people don't. People say, I don't get it. I listen. I said, do you really listen? Do
Yeah.
you truly listen? And I think that's so key because yes, you might have a list of questions ready, but if you truly listen, you might even just go through 5 questions and you already have a relationship building there. And you'd be surprised that when you start providing a solution, they already said yes, because during those conversations, they feel that you truly are there and you have the heart that you really want to help. It comes genuinely, not like I have an agenda I need to propose to you, right? How many people love salespeople? No one loves salespeople. They know they have an agenda, right? But you know how Jay always say that people love to buy but hate to be sold? So true. It is so true. They want to buy. Everybody has a problem. They want to buy. But why you? You have to decide why you. Why cannot be the person next to you? It's the way you ask the question, but the way you listen and show that you care before you proceed to the next questions, basically.
For sure. What are your favorite coaching methods, which is basically follow-up, right? All of coaching someone through, past the buying of the kit or the
Yeah.
products, everything after that, and we call coaching, is basically follow-up. So
Yeah.
what are, we talk about the basic 5, right? TLS
Yeah.
has follow-up built right into it when you coach somebody properly. So what are your favorite coaching methods and follow-up methods with your clients?
So like you said, I think if anybody who's not good at follow-up, TLS is the best accountability major for you to learn how to follow up. Because when you think about makeup, you buy a color. I love motive, don't get me wrong. You buy a color, you're not going to follow up them in a week, 2 weeks. How do you like the color? How do you like the color? I like the color, period. There's nothing else I like, right? However, when you talk about TLS, even in a supplement, let me walk through the supplement, then I'll go to the weight loss thing. Even supplement, calcium, in a week, they're not going to feel anything. In 2 weeks, they're not going to feel much. Maybe in a month, you might start to notice the hair, maybe the nails strong, but not much to be noticeable. But weight loss is very different. Because in the weight loss, because we have, just take a 30 days, for example. The first phase 1 is detox. We know detox, they'll go through a lot of symptoms, especially when they have very poor lifestyle. It's a great opportunity for you to pretty much connect with them on a daily basis. And it can be, as people say, I don't have time. It can be as simple as texting them. How's everything going today? How are you feeling today? As simple as that. Their answer will let you know they're good or they need more help, right? Because you might be working with a lot of people. You're not going to talk to everybody in an hour. You don't have time. That's the beauty of technology that we have right now. You can text, you can do it. And based on their answer, you know it's the fall in 2 days or immediately because they asked for help. So I think first of all, there's phase 1, then there's the next phase 2, which is the next 3 weeks. But what I like about it is because during that 30 days, it was your excuse or your invitation to call them. Okay, how many people like to buy something and some like, imagine I buy makeup and someone call me every day, do you like your makeup? I don't think I really like that too much, to be honest. However, but TLS, you can actually have an invitation and say, are you okay if I check on you to make sure everything's going well? They will say, thank you, wow. So, and that's what the TLS is for. If you're not good at follow-up, TLS is the key. It really forces you to follow up because that's how the 30 days is. And I always say, if you spend such a great job in 30 days in follow-up and build that relationship, that's your customer for life.
Right.
For life, for sure. They give you 30 days to work with them. And if you miss that 30 days and you don't follow up, then the problem might be you, might not be the client.
Right. It's
However,
not the program.
yeah, it's not the program. It's definitely. So I would say definitely the phase, the going through that phase is a great way for you to remember, okay, you know, this is not phase 2. What would they have problem with phase 2? Maybe phase 2, they introduce the TLS shakes. Maybe provide them a recipe with TLS shakes and share with them some of the recipe you love using the TLS shakes so that they can see that you're also using the product, because we always say we're a product of a product. If you never use TLS shakes, you cannot talk about how much you like it. And if you show them a picture of you making the muffin or you making the pancake or you doing your smoothie and using the TLS shake, they know that you are also using the product. And that really strengthens their belief in the product and willing to try the product. And once they try the shakes or the muffin, they love it. And that's your, again, customer, right? Because after 30 days, the shakes is gone. They're ready to get reorder because they love it so much, because you introduce some different ways of using it. Trim tea is another example. There's so many different ways, but when you ask me what's the coaching thing, I think it's continued follow-up. Like people said, that's a lot of time, a lot of work, but I always tell people, if we spend one whole month to do an amazing follow-up, that customer is yours. And it's actually right now, I have a lot of people that order product that I don't follow up as closely anymore because they're my long-term customer. I only work closely with my new customer. I don't do like everyday follow with my existing customer. There's no way. But I already built that relationship that every once in a while I still contact them, but I don't need to contact them every day. But with my new one, 30 days, that's your follow-up time, right? Maximize that opportunity. That's what I really want to say.
Okay, that's awesome. I love that. So texting, call if they need more support. Are you one of the coaches that maybe your own private little Facebook group as well? Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'm a
lots
big
of
Facebook
coaches,
group. Yeah.
lots of coaches do that. And one of the things that we did during the Get Lean during quarantine, right, was to create a list of videos that you could share
Yes.
with your customers or clients into your own Facebook group, or text them as well, right straight from that YouTube playlist, and say, hey, here's the video of the day. Or, you can pick and choose from that playlist which ones you want to share. So, we took the best TLS coaches and trainers. Sosan's in there a couple times. I'm in there a couple times. And you can share if you're not really super comfortable with suddenly being the educator. And that's one of the tools and leverage we created as
Exactly.
well.
Yeah. It goes back to the word leverage, right? Like, where do you get to leverage this? I think if you were to start your own practice, even as a health professional, if you were to start your own, this is something I always want to share. Like, as much as I can do the work, I have to put the time to do the work. And if you're a health professional who's busy building the business, or like in terms of your practice, you don't have time to build extra resources. But with TLS, all these resources are yours for you to use. And if you don't use it, then again, it's your fault because the resources are for you to use. And I remember the first time I had to add this, because when I was looking at the resources, I was like, oh my God, all these menu plans were all created, all these recipes. And I spent how much time working on mine for my clients. I could have saved that time and worked with more clients, hence more income, hence helping more people. My goodness. So for a lot of health professional who doesn't have time, this is how you leverage your time.
Absolutely.
Because ask any health professional, they love to coach more than they like to do the admin work. Let the TLS do the admin work for you.
That's right. Absolutely. What is your personal TLS product go-to? What do you just, love?
I have to say, prior to Trim Tea, it was more of a core, because as Asian, I do love my noodles. That's my weakness. I don't care about rice, to be honest, but I love my noodle. And well, I don't care about rice except for sushi. Sushi is something that I love. But sushi and noodles is my weakness. So for me, it was the core was perfect, and I can see that for a lot of my clients because everyone had their attachment to some sort of carb. Some people it's bread, some people it could be pasta, some people it could be the rice, some people it could be the noodle. So the core was definitely my favorite. Then the trim tea and trim cafe came. I was like, okay, you know what? I love it because I can drink it all day. I'm actually talking to you and I'm drinking my trim tea right here. So I love my trim tea. Okay. I love the fact that as Asian, we drink tea. Tea it's a basic, right? And the tea, honestly, for a lot of Asian, they will understand it tastes like pu'er tea, which is a tea that we drink
It does.
as yeah, it tastes
Yeah.
like pu'er tea. And pu'er tea, if we've done research, there's a lot of research to show that how great it is as a support for weight management. So when we drink it, the Chinese will say, "Oh, I drank this before." I said, yeah, you drank it before in flavor, but not necessarily ingredient." That's why I love it for that reason. And recently, because of you, Melanie, I start using CLA. Because I want to get more trim to get the six pack. No, not the six pack, but definitely the tone, more tone fit. So I said, okay, if she's doing CLA and she looks so fit, I'm doing the CLA too. So I started taking CLA for about a month since we started working together. And I am looking for 3 months later to see my abs, like my tone abs showing right there. So so my latest product will be definitely the CLA, but trim tea was probably hands down my all-time favorite, basically.
I love that. I love that. What would you say is like your most popular within your customer base? Like, what do you get most reorders on?
You know, originally I really thought was core, but surprisingly, in the last couple of years, I would have said TLS X.
Interesting.
It was the most order. You
Yeah.
know why? It's because core, it's really like once people just think about core. Core is for people who love the carbs. But once they go into the TLS lifestyle, they start to have a better relationship with other food, like your vegetable, your protein, fats, and fiber, that they can carb, the relationship kind of dilute a little bit. Okay. So they don't need the core all the time. They might take it as needed, but not on a daily basis. But the reason why acts is because a lot of people, as you know, go through a lot of stress.
Oh my God.
And when they go through a lot of stress, B complex is great, but it still doesn't do the job that is really completely needed for a person who said that I'm anxious, I can't sleep. And we know that poor sleep affects you in so many ways.
Mm.
And that's when I recommend that, you know what, maybe aside from B complex, maybe you might benefit from adding Axe. And everyone came back, told me what a life changer it is. And I
Mm.
saw the repeat order every month. So that tells me the product works
Oh my,
because it's easy, right? But like if you see the pre-order and you see maybe like core reorder maybe every 3-4 months, but you see Axe every month,
yeah.
you know what that means, right? So I have to say for me, lately my clients is Axe. Like Axe is
Yeah.
unfortunately and fortunately at the same time becomes a top seller for my clients, at least for now.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I love the TLS line too, because Axe was never a product I used because I didn't have a stressful lifestyle. There was nothing stressful about my life. So, and then I started with corporate position. And suddenly my stress level went like, I mean, it was just, yeah, it was like a totally new experience for me. And I ran out of Axe just before we left Florida, and I ordered 2 bottles immediately so that I would not run out again. It's now my go-to. And there's different times in our lives, right? There's different seasons of life. And like you said, some of your clients' core might be the go-to until they have a healthier relationship with food. And once they do, you know, I don't use core because I don't do carbs. Carbs are not my problem, but I love green coffee. So green coffee and CLA are my fat shredders, and Axe is for my stress, right? So it's just when you realize that, you know, you can help your clients with so many different seasons of life, and they don't always have to be on the same product forever and ever, amen. And we have that ability to customize and support people's health and wellness. It's pretty amazing. So what are your go-to TLS coaching tools? Like we have a lot of tools.
Yeah.
Now they've been all updated and they're
Yeah.
all new. So everything that's in the index is pertinent and updated. However, what are your go-tos, Sosan?
Recipe book. You know why? Because I do have a lot of recipe, but you can never have enough recipe. It's just, that's why every year you go to a bookstore, you go online, recipe book is always out. There's always a new recipe book. Whatever that recipe, it could be a vegan, paleo, whatever it is, it's always a recipe. Always looking for meals ideas. And as much as I create my own, I only have so much time to create my own, right? So it's just so nice to have one that is professionally done with all the nice graphics and picture. I mean, I can write the content. I don't have the ability to do it very nicely, professionally done. So it's always sometimes I say, I create one for you to customize, but I give you another one. And they often say, oh, this is so much nicer. I was like, yeah, it is. And I said, well, and I'm embarrassed to say that, yeah, this is a professional one. This is the homemade one. But you know what? I would say the number one is definitely the recipe. The second I love is the infographics, because it's straight to the point. And I sometimes, although I educate my clients, but human attention span or memory is not so great. So infographics serve as a summary of what I share, highlighting the key point why this particular product is good. And I like that. And I like that not just to send to my clients, but to send to my partner, because I might tell my partner, okay, X does all this. And they might not remember. I say, hey, this is an infographic summarizing what I just told you. And I think that's so great about that. That's why I love infographics too. That's my second favorite.
You could take a screenshot of it and text it to them. You can download the PDF and email it to them. You can post it to your Facebook group. We actually are updating currently many of our infographics. We're working on the green coffee one right now. It's going to be great because it was a little bit much, right? Like there was a lot going on that infographic. It was hard to focus for those adult ADDers. I was like, bah, I'm done. Just couldn't even like look at it. I was like, nope. So I love the new one we're gonna be posting out soon and almost ready to go. So number 7, one of the things that makes a really successful coach and trainer, and obviously you're talking about reorders. Is there any strategies in specific that you use to help your clients reorder or remember to reorder or to build a relationship so they do? Like, what are your strategies?
So as I said before, follow up, right? So a few strategies, and I use them in my prior practice, to be honest, and it's been very useful, is that I have a lot of clients. There's absolutely no way I remember every single detail of each client. But the great thing with your phone is I used to, whenever I speak to a certain client, and if they say something, that although our conversation was on, say, gut health, and they mentioned something along that conversation that I thought was important, but I didn't want to talk about that because I want to focus on the gut health. After they leave, I literally put a yellow sticky, the old traditional, I put in yellow sticky note, I put them into the file. Then so next time when I see them, guess what? When I open the file, I see that yellow sticky note, I talk about it. And they were like, wow, how do you remember? And they were so impressed because they felt that I care enough to remember. And I felt, wow, because their reaction tells me this is a very good thing to do. So what I did was with all my shop.com or Market America customers, what I did was instead, because I don't have a file, they are not my clients, I don't create a file for them. But what I created was all the clients, I put them in my phone, and in my phone I write the name and I put bracket, I put MA customer, so that I know it's a client versus an MA customer. And in your phone you have the notes where you can write things. That's when I put my notes. So whatever they say, if they mention, I don't know, husband is dealing with this, or daughter dealing with this, or my sister dealing with this, I will put in that note, sister stress, or daughter picky eater, like something like that along that conversation. Guess what? Next time when I follow up with them, I look at my phone. That's something that they mentioned. I said, how's your sister? That's when you mentioned she's very stressed. I hope she's doing well. They were like, oh my God. Thank you, Sosan. I felt so good. And sometimes they start crying. They say, oh my God, my sister's not doing well. She's going through divorce. And like the whole conversation, I was like, wow, she needs a lot of help. Then that's when she said, can you help her?
Yeah.
So I got a referral from there, just from that
That's so good.
conversation.
So I just found it, like, notes.
Yep. That's
Right
what
when
I
you like
used.
right with your content. That's so
Yeah.
good. I love that. You know,
So easy.
save the trees.
Yep.
And
Save the tree, and you have your phone with you all the time.
yeah, so
So
good.
whenever I'm about to call them, I usually just check my contact list, my phone. I was like, oh, what did we have that conversation? It could be a 1 word, 2 word. It's enough for me to trigger my memory. Then I have that conversation, and I find it was so great because that was a #1 relationship builder because they love it. I still have people I still contact, and I still ask questions that are very personal to what they share at one time in their life, and we had that conversation. And I felt it was so great in terms of building that shared customer, getting referral, and on top of that, in their mind, Sosan is the solution provider. So whenever they have problem, they say, oh, I'm not sure you can help me, but this is what my problem is. Guess what? The fact that they always thought of you, that means you have a chance to share. And I think that's amazing. And I'm really grateful because of my prior practice that I kind of figured that out. And I realized I can use it here, and it
Yeah,
worked
this
beautifully.
is so good. So I want to go over this, you guys, because when you put a new contact in, you put their first name, their last name, and then under company, you either put like customer or partner. And then that way, when you search contacts, you could just put in customer, and all of the people you've labeled as your customer would come up, and you can go, oh, who should I follow up with today? Right? And there's your one follow-up every day. And that's an amazing thing to do right there in your contacts so that you can search that and then you add the notes after you've talked with them. That is so brilliant. I love that. So good. So good. I hope everybody uses that because
Yeah,
that's
use
like the
that.
gold. That's the golden follow-up nugget of this webinar right now. Let's go to obstacles you faced and overcame, you know, to build a successful business with Market America and a TLS, you know, major.
I definitely have a lot of obstacle, and I think I would start out by saying that being a dietitian does not give you the privilege or the easy way out. In fact, it was actually the harder way out. And people would say, that's not true. You have access to many customers, have access to a lot of potential customers. But it's very hard to not play, but wear different hats in the most professional way possible. I'm still a dietitian. I'm still a certified diabetes educator. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business partner. I'm a business person building the business. So to be balanced in all the different hats so that there's no conflict of interest, it's hard. It's not easy.
Well, let
And
alone
it's
add
all,
on top. Wait, we'll add on top of that like wife and mom.
yes, yes, yes. It's very challenging. So I think for me, the biggest challenge was me, my mindset, because so I will share with you three of my biggest challenge. #1 was selling supplement. As I told you, I'm very good at selling my service, but I'm not very good at selling supplement because in my practice or as a dietitian, we never train to recommend supplement unless there's a deficiency. So there's an iron deficiency, yes, talk about calcium. No, sorry, talk about iron. If there's a B12 deficiency, talk about B12. If there's a vitamin deficiency, talk about vitamin D. Because there is a blood work to dictate the reason so you can justify it, you feel good, you did your job. So when you recommend a supplement for prevention means that there's no blood work to prove that you need to recommend. That's when I have to wrap my head around it. And I remember when I started, although I feel that there's a need for it, it was very uncomfortable for me to recommend supplement. I always go from a, let's make some lifestyle changes and everything. And I remember one of my partner, which is the partner that introduced me to the business, she was like, I don't get it, Sosan. How come you're not recommending supplement? You know that person needs it. I said, I know, but let's work on the diet first. Let's work on the diet first. Like work in your comfort zone, right? That's my comfort zone. And she was like, let's suppose you're not in the business. And would you still recommend the product? I said, oh yeah. She was like, then what makes a difference? Just because you have a business, suddenly you cannot recommend the product? And that caught me thinking. Then I realized, oh, she's right. What's stopping me is because my perception that I gain from recommending the product. But how is it different than me recommending a product and they go to a health food store and buy it?
Mm-hmm.
No different. It's just happened the health food store is my online shop. That's the only difference, basically. So I think that was what was a very important changing point, because once I thought about that, I said, for every client I'm seeing, if I truly believe that whether I have this business or not, I still recommend those products, then I'm true to myself. I can recommend the product. So that's number one. Second is because I'm passionate about education. I love to teach. So when she said that, instead of thinking about selling, why can't you think about educating them so that they make that informed decision? I was like, oh, I can do that. I'm very good at educating people. She was like, okay, educate people. I was like, okay, then it's no longer selling. It's actually sharing and educating. And that was my second kind of block gone off. And third was the business building part, because now we talk about customer. I'm done with the customer. Now I'll talk about the business building. Can you imagine where a dietitian had inside you talk about shop.com? It's a very interesting mindset. So I asked myself, I asked myself to work, which hat am I wearing with what people, I think once you have that clarity, it's much easier. But when you go in with so many different hats together, you cannot do your work. Like I cannot be a mom and do an interview right now. I cannot do that together, because I cannot hold my kids and say, hey, let's do an interview. It doesn't work. So I need to decide when I am into that, going to that business meeting, I am going as a shop.com shop consultant. So when I share the business plan, it's the MPCP. However, if I go in to talk about the whole nutrimetric, I wear a health professional hat. So once I'm very clear of what hat I'm wearing, I'm much more focused and can play the role of that hat very well. But if I don't have that clarity, I can see my content, I'm everywhere. And when I'm everywhere, why would that person want to follow me when you're lost, when you don't even know where you want to go? So I find that's very important, is having that clarity, and really, it's really a mindset shift. And once I have that mindset shift, I notice that things start to get very easy. So things start to flow. And when things start to flow, you say, oh, that's doable. That's doable. And you build that confidence, because when you start to have more yes, that feels so much confident. And when you start to also see yourself helping people and helping your partner, you build more confidence. And obviously the great thing about this business, when they're successful, you're successful at the same time. So that's a great thing about it.
Absolutely. I think, in other words, what you're saying is be present with who you're with and what you're doing. Yeah. So if you're being a mom, be a mom. And when you're working your business, work your business. When you're with your husband, be the best spouse you can be. When you're, with your clients, be with your clients. Yeah. And being present allows you to know intuitively what hat to wear. And I think that's really, really crucial. The other thing that I think I got out of that is when you are with your clients or your business partners, or your prospective clients or business partners, one of the things, again, I feel like happens a lot in the field is new owners, they don't know which hat. And all of a sudden they're like, and then we have this, and we have this, and we have that. And they're jumping from TLS to shop.com to all in one meeting. Like all in one conversation. Yeah. And it's like, whoa. Like one thing at a time, book the follow-up appointment. One thing at a time, book the follow-up appointment. Don't inundate them with everything we have in one conversation. And that goes for TLS, that goes for the business. And it's easy to go because they say one sentence and you're like, oh, let me show this. And then they say another sentence and you're like, oh, let me show you this, and I see it happen all the time. And suddenly the person's like, how could you possibly know all of these things? And how could you possibly be an expert in all of these things? And think about what that does to the prospective client and partner. Right?
Exactly. And I totally agree. And I want to add one more point, is saying that that's the beauty of it. You can leverage. Let's suppose I'm talking to somebody and, I tell you this true story. It was interesting. I was talking to a prospect and she's a naturopathic doctor. So here I am thinking, making the assumption, oh, nutrimetric, help, like TLS, like it will be the whole conversation. That was not interesting to her. I was like, oh my God, this is weird. How come she's totally not responding the way I would expect a health professional responding? Guess what she was interested in? Motives. I was like, okay. Motives. I'm not ready for motive. But the great thing, I said, you know what? This is the beauty. This is where I highlight something. I said, you and I are health professionals. We can only see so many patients in a day, no matter how good we are. But you know what? I don't know anything about makeup, but I have a team of makeup artists that I can leverage because of this business platform. Let me introduce them to you. And that's all I have to say. And that really allowed them to see, oh, like the beauty of this business is the leverage. Again, I don't need to be an expert in makeup. And I don't think I will ever be an expert in makeup, which is totally fine. But I would say that don't make the assumption and learn to leverage when possible. You cannot be an expert in everything. You just can't. And you shouldn't be, because you shouldn't be. We cannot be an expert in everything. And this is the beauty about building a business of different partners specialized in different area and get to introduce and, you know, and say, you know what, I have this team that are specialized in motive and you love makeup. Let me introduce them to you. That's what I get to bring in partners to work with them. And because this is a team, everyone benefits together, which is amazing.
And some people might be listening to this and they're a new and franchise owner and they go, I don't have a team. I don't have a team of makeup artists. Here's the thing. This is why it's so important to connect with your local area people and work cross-line. And that's what we do in this business. We are one team, one dream. And as we connect, as we show up, as we contribute to the Market America community, people who are not in your business, who are not financially connected to you will bend over backwards to help and support you. And that is an incredible thing, but you got to show up, you got to get to know people, you have to network in Market America so that you can utilize the team leverage in order to do, you know, put professionals in front of professionals and do, you know, those types of three-way phone calls or connect people. So lastly, and we've got to wrap this up, is your vision and goal for the future. Sosan, what is something that is left undone yet in your legacy of success? Where you want to go? What do you want to create? And I would love to hear about it.
Well, you know, with TLS, the mission is to really do this what we call science-based proven methodology to actually advance people in health and in wealth. I love the second part was to help these individuals to increase the human potential, basically. And I truly believe that in this business and in TLS, we can truly do that. But my biggest vision or mission or vision that I really wanted to do was there's so much a person can do. But together, if we can start off by helping a person, when you help a person, you help a family. When you help a family, you can help that group. When you help that group, you can help a country. And when you help a country, you can help the world. And I truly believe that if we all share the same mission, I really want one day, it is personally my heart, is that obesity is no longer, and diabetes and the whole obesity, what we call the obesity, which is obesity and diabetes, is no longer a disease that we fear with. It's something that we can actually conquer. And I don't want people to ever go through the way my grandmother has to go through because of the complications she goes through. And this is something that is doable. We can change it. It start with truly what you eat. Start with there, okay? And this is why I love TLS so much, because it starts with the fundamental core is eat. Because no matter what kind of person you are, we eat. We eat. So let's work on that part and let the business allow you to help and transform more because of the amazing platform we have. So I'm really hoping for that to happen.
Yeah, maximizing human potential, and if it's predictable, it's preventable. And that's what we have at our fingertips. Thanks so much for your time, Sosan. Thanks for everybody who attended live.
You're welcome.
And just an awesome, awesome interview with lots of golden nuggets. This was fantastic. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for allowing me to share. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.